Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I am Nat, and today we're talking about something that sounds incredibly dry on paper, but it's actually a massive corporate style drama. We're talking about the international law versus domestic law. Basically, when the United Nations or a bunch of the world leaders sign a global treaty, does that rule instantly apply to you and me in our hometowns? Or can our local government just say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks? Okay, to talk about this, I've got my friends here. We've got our human rights activists, the globalists. We've got our constitutional scholar, the local protector. And we have a real life judge to keep us all from fighting. So, activists, let's start with you. You are a big fan of something called monism. Break it down for us, but keep it simple.
Okay, deal. So, good morning, guys. Look, monism is basically the combo meals theory of law. Monists believe that international law and local country laws are not separate things. It's all one big, unified legal system. Think of a smartphone. The hardware and the software comes together right out of the box. So, the exact second a country signed a global treaty, boom, it automatically becomes the law of the land. Local police, local courts, and local authorities have to follow it immediately. No waiting around.
Okay, that's super convenient, but why give global rules that much of a power?
So, because human rights shouldn't depend on whether your local government is having good or bad days, we need universal standard. There was this legal philosopher named Hans Kelsen who talked about a concept called grammar, which is basically a fancy German word for the ultimate boss law. In monism, international law is the ultimate boss at the top of the pyramid. Local laws only count if they align with that global boss. Think about severe things like the Bosnian genocide in 90s when local legal system completely fell or turned blind. Global law stepped in to hold war criminals accountable. If local law could always override global law, Roach leader could just pass a local law by saying, hey, operation is totally legal here, and get away with it. Global law is our ultimate safety net.
Okay, I get it. Global law as a shield against the bad guys. But, scholar, you're looking at this and thinking, whoa, hold on a minute. You're a dualist. What's your vibe?
Thanks, Nat. Look, I care about human rights too, but monism scares me a bit. I see law through dualism, which is like more like a DIY assemble kit. So dualists believe international law and domestic law live in two completely different worlds. International law is just a VIP agreement agreement between countries. So it does not automatically apply inside your borders. For a global treaty to become a real law you can use in court, your local parliament actually has to sit down, debate it, and write a brand new local to transform it into national legislation.
But isn't that dragging your feet? Why make it so complicated?
Well, it's about sovereignty. Basically, who calls the shots in your own house? Our local government are elected by us. So the answer to us. International organizations are not elected by the local people. So take Malaysia as a quick example. If our government signs a cool international treaty at the fancy summit, the treaty is useless in a Malaysia court until our parliament passes a specific local act to bring it to life. We protect our own constitution first.
Is there a real life example of this causing a massive argument?
Oh, big time. Look at a famous US Supreme Court case called Medellin v. Texas. A Mexican national was facing the death penalty in Texas for murder. The International Court of Justice, a global court, ruled that the US messed up because they didn't let him talk to his consulate. So it actually violated a global treaty. So they ordered the US to review the case, but the US Supreme Court basically said, sorry, no. So they ruled that even though the US signed the treaty, Congress had never passed a local law to make that specific global court ruling enforceably. It would destroy local democracy and ignore the unique culture and politics of individual countries.
Wow. So, on one side, wants a global shield, and the other one wants to protect local democracy. Let's bring in our pragmatic judge to settle the score. Judge, you are the one who actually sits on the bench and deals with these messy collisions. How do you weight all of this?
Thank you, Nadhirah. Let's look at the two sides objectively. If we choose the monist approach from our human rights advocate, the benefit is that it protects human rights globally. However, the downside is that it can reduce national democratic control. It gives international treaties too much power over laws passed by our own elected parliament. On the other hand, if we choose the dualist approach from our constitutional scholar, the benefit is that we protect our country's sovereignty and our constitution. However, the downside is that it allows the national government to delay or avoid its international commitments simply by choosing not to pass local laws. When there is a conflict between these two systems, judges must look at legal authorities. In the case of R versus Lyons, the court made it very clear. International law binds the government globally, but local judges are bound only by domestic law. If Parliament has not incorporated a treaty into our national law, a judge cannot enforce it. Therefore, my pragmatic answer to our main question is this. International law applies between countries, but domestic law applies inside national courts. For a judge, the Constitution functions as the highest legal norm, while the Grundnorm is the basic rule that forms the foundation of the entire legal system. This does not mean judges simply ignore international law. We may still take international principle into account when interpreting domestic law to ensure justice is served. That's all from me.
To wrap it all out for our listeners, monism treats all law as one big system where global rules protect human rights instantly. Dualism says, not so fast, and insists that local parliament must approve global rules to protect our right to govern ourselves. And as His Honor just pointed out, judges look to the Constitution as the highest local norm, using international principle as a guide to make sure the law stays fair. Huge thanks to our incredible panel to make this so easy to understand. And to everyone listening at home, the next time you hear about a major global treaty being signed, ask yourself, is your country going to treat it like an instant combo meal, or are they gonna make us build it ourselves? Until next time, on Law Stuff Simplified, keep questioning the rules. Bye bye! Thank you guys!